Did you know there is a palatial sandstone former mental asylum on the shores of Sydney Harbour, where allegedly hundreds of unmarked bodies are buried? This is Callan Park, and it was built in the 1880s as Callan Park Hospital for the Insane. With the overcrowding of Sydney's existing mental institution, it was decided that a new facility would be built on the shores of Iron Cove. Then the colonial architect James Barnett was employed to design 20 sandstone neoclassical buildings with the help of Frederick Norton Manning. He was instrumental in the construction of Callan Park, and it was believed his title was Master of Lunacy. However, it was actually Inspector General of the Insane. Not much better. So Manning decided to go on a tour where he went to Europe and America and studied their mental institutions. And he deduced that the best facilities were surrounded by nature. These had the best outcomes for the patients. This was called green therapy and was central to the construction of Callan Park. In the early days, you could be admitted into Callan Park for jealousy, laziness, if your son got married and you were just a bit upset, using birth control, opium habits, if you had a baby with your first cousin, political excitement, asthma, hysteria, and even sunstroke. By the 1920s, Callan Park was overcrowded and underfunded. This was also the time when a lot of rumours surrounding the tunnels at Callan Park were coming to light. So it was believed that there were wards underground under the main hospital building with tunnels connecting them. This is where patients were apparently restrained and kept out of sight. There was also another popular rumour that said there was a tunnel that went from the main building down to Iron Cove, where patients could be brought in by boat under the cover of darkness, pushed up the tunnel and into the building, and no one would see them. Although very widespread, these rumours are just stories. Although there are tunnels that still remain underneath the building today, and they've been there since the 1880s, but have always been used for maintenance and storage. In 1957, electrotherapy, electric shocks that triggered seizures in the brain, were being utilised on people restricted in straitjackets. These methods were not effective and left patients severely injured. So as people inevitably passed away from being at Callan Park, there was lots of burials on site. So apparently there's around 1,000 bodies in unmarked graves in the grounds of the former hospital. In 1961, there was a Royal Commission of Inquiry into the treatments here at Callan Park, and some pretty awful findings were discovered. There was a whole lot of mistreatment, punishment inflicted on the patients, very unfair, awful, overcrowded conditions, and also starvation. There was a whole lot of reforms put in place to try and fix these problems. However, Callan Park adopted a pretty awful reputation in Sydney as a place for horrific acts. Callan Park Hospital morphed into Rozelle Hospital in 1976, and in 2008, the last patients left Callan Park. Many tenants now use some of the buildings. The main courtyards are used for filming, and the grounds are now managed by Greater Sydney Parklands. However, many of the historic buildings have fallen into disrepair with an uncertain future.